What if I told you that in ancient philosophy, something from 2,000 years ago held the secret to mastering modern investing? Well, that's exactly what we're digging into today. We're exploring the Stoic Path to Wealth, inspired by the work of Darius Foroux, to uncover a powerful advantage you can start using right away.
But first, let's just get real for a second. Why does investing feel like such a gut-wrenching, emotional roller coaster? We've all been there, right? Staring at our portfolio, feeling that knot in our stomach. Why is it so hard?
Well, according to Foroux, it's because we're focused on the wrong thing. Building wealth, he says, has very little to do with complicated charts or trying to outsmart the market. He argues that investing is 90% psychology. It's all about managing your own emotions. That is the real game.
And that leads us straight into what we can call the emotional investing trap. Let's take a closer look at how our own minds, our own human nature, can become our single biggest financial enemy.
This right here tells a story that's all too common. Back in 2007, Darius Foroux jumped into the market for the first time, probably feeling pretty excited, inspired by movies like Wall Street. And then, just a year later, boom, the great financial crash hits. He lost 60, maybe 70% of his money. The pain was so real he just stopped. He didn't invest again for years.
And look, his story isn't unique. It's a fundamentally human one. There's actually a name for this. Psychologists call it loss aversion. And it basically means that the pain of losing $100 feels way more intense than the joy of gaining $100. And that sting, that's what causes people to panic and sell at the absolute worst possible moment.
So, is there a way to break that cycle? A way to short-circuit that knee-jerk emotional reaction? Well, that's where our ancient philosophy comes in. The solution has actually been sitting there, waiting for us for over 2,000 years.
And that answer is Stoicism. Now, forget what you might think. This isn't some dusty, boring philosophy class. Think of Stoicism as a practical operating system for your mind. It's a toolkit designed to protect your sanity by helping you manage your emotions, whether you're stuck in traffic or watching the stock market take a nosedive. At the very heart of Stoicism is this incredibly simple but powerful idea. It's called the dichotomy of control. You just divide everything in the world into two buckets. In one bucket, you put everything you absolutely cannot control. The market, the news, inflation, global chaos, you name it. And in the other bucket, you put the things you can control, developing your skills, managing your spending, and, this is the most important one, controlling your own reactions and sticking to your strategy.
Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually put this into practice? How do we use it? Well, that brings us to the Stoic Investor's Playbook. This is the actionable step-by-step strategy.
And the playbook really rests on three simple but incredibly powerful principles. First, invest in yourself before you invest in the market. Second, you have to accept that you're going to lose money sometimes. And third, let the quiet magic of compounding do the heavy lifting for you. Let's break each of those down.
Okay, principle number one is all about building a rock-solid foundation. Before you can even think about investing money, you need a reliable way to earn money. Your skills, whether it's writing or coding or being a great manager, those are the only assets that no market crash can ever take away from you. I mean, even the legends like Warren Buffett and George Soros started out working regular jobs, honing their skills and building their capital.
All right, principle two is a huge mental shift. You have to understand that market downturns are not failures. They're an inevitable, normal part of the process. If you want to win in the long run, you have to get comfortable with losing in the short term. Think of it as the price of admission to the greatest wealth-building machine on earth. And don't think for a second this is just for us regular folks. Even the titans of investing get hammered. George Soros once took a 22% loss in a single year. But the key thing, as Foroux points out here, is that their biggest successes almost always came right after their biggest losses. Why? Because they didn't quit. They stayed in the game.
And that brings us to the third and final principle, the awesome power of just being patient. If you look at something like a simple S&P 500 index fund, it has historically returned around 10% a year on average. The secret sauce isn't being a genius stock picker, it's consistency. It's just staying invested and letting time work its incredible compounding magic.
So, we're building this wealth, we're compounding, but for what? What's the real goal here? Because this isn't just about piling up as much money as possible. The Stoic Path actually points toward a much deeper definition of success.
So what is true wealth? It's not a number in your bank account. It's one word: freedom.
It's about breaking that direct link between your time and your income. It's when your money starts working for you, instead of you always having to work for it. That gives you control over your life.
Now, to get to that freedom, you have to sidestep the biggest trap of modern life, the trap of more. Society is constantly screaming at us to want more, a bigger house, a faster car, more stuff. Stoic wisdom flips that on its head. It asks a much smarter question: what is enough for me? Defining your enough is the secret to financial peace.
And if you want to see a perfect, real-world example of this, look no further than John Bogle, the guy who founded Vanguard. He created a company that now manages trillions of dollars. He could have been one of the richest people on the planet, but he died with a net worth that was a tiny fraction of what he could have had. Why? Because his goal wasn't just to get rich. His philosophy was about providing massive value to millions of everyday people. He truly lived the idea of enough.
Really, it all comes back to what the Stoic philosopher Seneca said thousands of years ago. The entire point of getting your money right isn't just to have a big pile of cash for the future. It's to stop being so anxious about the future that you forget to actually live and enjoy your life today.
So, when you put this all together, how does it give you a real, tangible advantage in the world? What's the one thing that gives you, the individual investor, an edge that almost no one else has?
The pros on Wall Street are always talking about having an edge. You've got the size edge, that's being a billionaire like Warren Buffett. You've got the quant edge, that's hiring a bunch of PhDs to build complex algorithms. And you have the informational edge, which is basically impossible to get legally. All of these are out of reach for us. But there is one edge that's available to every single one of us, the Stoic edge.
So what is this unbeatable advantage? It's your mind. It's the mental toughness to stick with your plan when everyone around you is panicking, and it's the discipline to stay the course when everyone else is getting greedy. It sounds simple, but it is not easy. And that's what makes it the most powerful advantage you will ever have.
Because at the end of the day, the real battle for building wealth isn't fought on Wall Street or in the stock market. It's fought in the 6 inches between your own ears. Your mind can either be your single greatest asset or your absolute biggest liability.
So, I want to leave you with one final question to think about. Forget the news, forget what the market did today. What is the one thing, the one small action completely within your control that you can do to improve your financial life starting right now?